Welcome, everybody. We are so excited that you're all here this morning. So many of you who are interested in this topic, and of course, it's a passion of mine. I'm Rena Cook, and I'm your co-hostess for today. Robert and I have done this workshop together a number of times now, and we're always excited about it. And I'm always excited to collaborate with Robert. I know that most of you know Robert through Bold, but if you don't, he is a master teacher. And I love to take his classes over and over again because I learn something every time and I have a good time doing it. So hopefully today we'll have a great time as well. I'm going to turn it over to Robert. He is going to first talk to us about what's in the perfect elevator pitch. And I'm going to talk to you about how to say it, the mechanics behind what you say. And I just want you to think before we start today about what is the model, the pitch person from heaven. Who is your model and what do they do that keeps you engaged and excited and you're always glad when they stand up to speak? What is it that they're doing that other people aren't? Robert and I, over the last 4 years, have listened to hundreds of elevator pitches, and more often than not, they've got issues. And you understand that, or you wouldn't be here today. So we hope that you get something from this and feel free to communicate with us, talk to us, put in chat, and when you're not speaking, go ahead and mute yourself. And in my portion, when we are actually practicing things, I will tell you when to mic and when to, so that your sound doesn't interfere with other people's sound, or that we're celebrating making a cacophony of sound together, which is also very fun. So, Robert, without any further ado, take it away.
Awesome, Rena. Thank you so much for the intro too. And I love working with you. And I love big words like cacophony. I don't even know how to spell that, but it sounds like a really cool word.
Isn't that a great word?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rena, you're a treat to work with always, and honored to work with you again this morning. So, Rena was real positive about what we're going to do today. I want you to go back to that scenario where you're sitting around the table, and we've probably all had this experience, and maybe even we've felt it ourselves, where the person speaking, either you don't understand a lick of what they do. They get done with their commercial, and you're like, okay. That was terrible. I have no idea how to refer you to anybody. Or vice versa. They may have said the best commercial they ever could have said, and even though you were sitting right next to them, you couldn't hear a word they said. Or that it was so full of ums and ahs that you got so distracted that you started a needle point on the side while they were doing their commercial. So I think we've all been either in that, and I've been in that seat where I didn't really know what to say. I didn't know how to say it. I'm not a huge fan of public speaking. So as it's going around the table, the whole time I'm getting nervous. You know, my breath is getting shallow. My hands are getting a little sweaty. I'm like, oh crap. What I'm going to say this time? Oh crap. I know I need to say something cool. I say the same thing every time. Maybe I should say something different. And I'm really not listening to anybody as it's going around the table and just getting more stressed. And then I get up, blurt out whatever I think should come out. And whether it comes out well or not, or I'm one of the first 2 people we talked about, I don't know, because I just go so fast, black out, and then I sit down and go, okay, that was horrific. Maybe I could have something else come up next week so I don't have to come back to this thing. Right? Anybody been in that spot or just me? Yep. Okay. I see a couple hands going up. All right. So the reason Rena and I put this together is that I could teach the things that I think make for a good commercial that do a couple of things. They inform our audience of what we do so that they could sort themselves out. So we sort people that are prospects or not, or those that may have contact with our prospects or not, from those that don't. And the second thing it does, those that either have referrals for us or maybe somebody we should talk to, or might be our prospect, could self-identify, go, hey, yeah, that's me. Let's have a conversation. It's really that simple. So the goal of a prospecting commercial is that, to sort and start a conversation. So that said, is it okay if I go ahead and share screen? All right. And sound like somebody had something to say. I don't want to skip past that. Oh, where's my view? You were sharing your screen. Where's my other screen so I could see everybody? Maybe not. Hold on. Technical difficulties, meeting control. Where is everybody? All right, hold on 1 second. Not the brightest light on the Christmas tree this morning. All right, where did everybody go? All right, maybe I don't get to see y'all. So if you have something to say, you'll have to say it differently. I don't know why I can't see y'all. I do a lot of Zoom meetings, so you'd think I'd have this stuff figured out by now.
I can see everybody in the gallery view, Robert, and I'll watch for comments and chat.
Okay, fantastic. I normally like to see just so I could have that body language and catch somebody.
I went over to view and
right.
and that's how I got the gallery view on the side of your
gallery view. I've got that. When I go to share though, it's getting rid of everybody. I can't do it. All right, I'll figure it out. All right, share staff. I'll do that. All right, that's just not going to work. So we're going to roll on anyways. As Rena said earlier, the show must go on. So I did drop into chat the workbook. I'll do that one more time in case it got lost in everybody's contact information. So there is a workbook. You're welcome to use that if you want. You're also may work just as well just to have a piece of paper. We're going to do some stuff with note taking. You may want to jot a couple things down. So first things first, capture, if you will, how effective you think your commercial is based on what we've already shared, the fact that it's there to sort or start a conversation. Scale of 1 to 10. 1, it's terrible, or 0, it's terrible, doesn't ever work. I don't get very many referrals, or people don't want to talk to me. To 10, I get referrals every time, and tons of success on connecting and resonating with other people. Right. So if you will, drop your score in chat, kind of a self-assessment. There's no right or wrong answers. I fixed it.
Excellent.
All right, let me see this chat stuff. Got 6s, 7, 7, 7, 6. Nice, got some professionals in here. I probably would have been a 2 or a 3 the first time I took this workshop, all fairness. I think my commercial was probably the worst. All right, got some good scores in there, got some mixed reviews, but we'll hopefully work those up, and at the end we'll take a reassessment, see if we've gotten any better. All right, so when it comes to commercials, how many of you ever have applied to the strategy of wing it? Right? Yeah, me too. I don't know, Sam. I'm just gonna say something. Hope it's good. Here it goes. Right? So what I find is most people, when they approach networking or developing commercial, don't ever really have a process or a system. They just hope it goes well. And what I find is that usually creates a lot more stress and anxiety than having a well thought out plan. All right, so let's tackle that second bullet down there. Blackjack dealers. Right? This is what my impersonation of folks that go to networking events that don't really know what to say. So they pair off one by one, maybe by the cocktail bar or the food, and they meet somebody and somebody goes, "What do you do?" And almost like automatic response, they just pass out cards. Like, here you go, here you go, here you go. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't get paid for passing out cards. That role is for a blackjack dealer. So I want to give you some tools that will make that a little more effective, and that comes down to our commercial. We want to sort and start a conversation. So what do you think you might be able to use when somebody says, "What do you do?" that will sort or start a conversation? Your commercial. Do you think your commercial might work better than passing out business cards? Sure. All right, so old school elevator pitches. So think of somebody that told you what they do. What were some things that you didn't like about it? Drop it in chat. When you've heard some other commercials that made you cringe, what did they say or do, or how did they approach you with what they do? Leading questions. What do you mean, James?
You know, like the vacuum salesman guy who's like, "Oh, you don't want a dirty house, right?" Or something like, something like that. Okay,
got it. Julie says felt like they wanted to sell you something. High pressure, just no conversation. Okay, I love that. Freelance roadkill photographer. I like that. That's pretty funny, right? Comedy does work for some folks. Been in business 100 years. Yeah, I like that. All right. So those are all good. And I find ultimately, if it's if your outcome is to start a conversation or get the other person thinking, probably talking a whole lot about features and benefits or how you could sell them or the problem or the how we've been around 100 years, we got the cheapest price, all that stuff. And we'll cover some of that framework. So let's talk a little bit about networking. And Megan did say a good point. If you want to drop your contact information, I know we have a lot of people that are looking to grow relationships. If you want to meet some other people and are open to connecting with others that might be on this call, totally okay to drop your contact information in chat. So networking defined, I thought this was a pretty good assessment of networking. This is from a book by Bob Berg. And it's cultivating mutual win-win relationships. And it says, all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those they know, like, and trust. And I'll add one more comment in there is value. If you don't have a problem that you solve for me, there's no value. I could like you, I could trust you, and I may remember you when I come across somebody, but unless there's a value, right now, if you're a good plumber that handles frozen pipes, there's probably lots of value, and I could come up with some people you should be talking to right now. Commission breath, I love it, Lee. How many of you ever had somebody tell you what they do and you could almost tell like they were so desperate to get you as a client? You're like, ooh, you had to take a shower afterwards. Like, that was gross. And you'd never call them. You just wouldn't. All right, so let's define kind of what we're going to tackle today. Here's some versions of an elevator pitch. So for those of you who don't know, the terminology elevator pitch comes from the idea that if you got on an elevator and you're going up or down with some other people and somebody said, hey, what do you do? That in that elevator, you could convey effectively what you do. That's pretty much it. And add in my complexity of sorting them and starting a conversation. So a 10-second is you're going to maybe a floor or two, and that's about all the time you have, right? A 30-second, maybe you're going 6 or 8 floors, you've got a little more time, and you might even hold the door for a second as you finish up talking. The 60-second, that's a really long elevator ride. And that's we use that in the networking space to share a story, a testimonial, or maybe an ideal referral for us. So in the 10-second version, it's boom, boom, boom. Here's the problems I solve. Yes,
Robert,
Rena.
let me interrupt you. Would you mute everybody? There's somebody with an open mic and it's got
I sure will.
noise.
If I could figure that out, it took me a while just to share my. You see everybody? Okay. See mute. That's mine. It's got to be in these meeting controls, I'm assuming, somewhere.
Right. Or you can make me co-host and I can sort it out.
How can I do that? That sounds exciting.
Just right click on her picture.
All right. Well, if I can find her picture again, we all moved around. Where'd Rena go? Oh, there you are. Ah! I'm telling you what, I'm usually not Zoom challenged. Make host, make co-host. Got it. All right, Miss Rena, you have the con.
All right, I'll try. And everybody, while you're listening, check to see that you're muted. Sorry to interrupt, Robert.
No, quite all right. Quite all right. If it's distracting you, I'm sure it's distracting other folks too. So totally cool. All right, so 10 seconds, just your pain points. Hey, these are the problems I solved. Boom, boom, boom. Not sure if you know anybody. Quick question at the end. 30-second commercial. We're going to spend a little more time setting up like who we typically work with, the problems we generally solve, and maybe a question or two at the end. And then, of course, 60-second, we cover that. Make sense? Thumbs up. Makes sense? Everybody knows what elevator pitch is? All right. We're gonna watch a quick video. I think we have some time for that. This is what I find fascinating about how people communicate what they do. Some folks show up and they focus on the what they sell. That's the outer edge. The what we sell only accounts for about 2% of why people buy from us. 2%. So that's the features and benefits, right? The bells and the whistles, and really, if we thought about it, they're the stuff that we got taught in sales school or our unique selling proposition. The other reason people buy from us is how we sell, how we ask questions, how we set up the next conversation, how we have closing questions, and how we do business. That's more sales process driven. But why we sell, okay, and why we sell are the problems or personal emotional needs that we address. So my question to you is, as you're out in the world and most people that you hear their commercial, what are they focusing on? Outside of bold, of course, if you've been around bold for a minute, we beat this to death. But outside of bold, what do most salespeople focus on?
Selling.
Yeah, it could be selling. If they're in a highly sales-driven organization, probably got lots of sales process training.
They're focusing on their needs and what they want.
Right. My guess is most people I've heard talk about features and benefits, and that's what Mike had said. We've been in business 100 years. We really care about our customers. right? We have the best prices and we have the best services and our products are #1 and we've won all these awards. Do you care about any of that stuff, real world?
No.
What do you really care about? If you're talking to a salesperson, what do you care about from that salesperson?
What can they do for me? What problem can you solve?
There you go. What can you do for me? What problem can you help me with my problem or a need that I have or not? I don't care that you've been in business a million years or you have the best customer service. Some of those things I just have to question. Have you thought about having maybe the opposite? Have you tried crappy customer service? Right. I don't know. It just seems to me some of those things that people bang their drum about are some prerequisites to being a quality company. All right. So let's cover a couple of these. People buy why you sell before they buy how or what you sell. So I was working with a printing company in Tulsa a few years back, and we brought the whole team together, the leadership team and the sales team. There are about 22 people in the room. And I asked them, I said, why do you do what you do? And they got kind of scratched their head and they looked at the wall behind them. In the conference room, there was a sign that said, "We deliver print." And resoundingly, I guess they'd done some corporate training and they all said, because we deliver print. I'm like, that's why you all got out of bed this morning, was to go deliver print? And they're like, yeah, we deliver print. I said, doesn't Vista print, doesn't Quick print, I don't know the last time I've gone to a print shop. Oh yeah, we deliver print. I said, who cares? And they got a little pissed. They were a little butthurt when I was challenging their corporate motto. I said, no, why did you get out of bed? Why do you do what you do? And it took a little while for them to get to the point that they want to help businesses grow, create jobs, and help the local economy by helping businesses thrive. And one of the ways they do that is by delivering print. They also do vehicle wraps, and they also do a bunch of other stuff in the marketing space, but they were so focused on this idea that their truck drivers actually loading up boxes and delivering print that they forgot why they were in business. So my question to you isn't about your products or services this morning, is why do you care? Why aren't you doing something else? And what happens to your clients if you don't exist doing what you do? That's the essence. That's what the orange part is in the middle. The big part, the big target is, why do you show up? And then the why you show up, hear me out, the why you show up affects how you show up. Have you met somebody that you could tell could give two craps less about what they do professionally? They just weren't passionate about it. It was just a job. Didn't you have a fundamental disconnect with, I probably wouldn't buy from them just because they don't care? Right? Absolutely. And that conveys in their features and benefits, and they just want to sell you on cheap price. No, thank you. I'll take a hard pass. That's probably a little harsh. So if you don't love what you do, you're not passionate about it, go do something else. And if you are passionate about it, let's bake that into how you convey, how you show up. Does that make sense? Give me a clap, a head nod, a party favor emoji, whatever. Awesome. All right. So on your piece of paper, wherever you're writing this, is ultimately, I want you to capture a couple of bullet points here. It's going to be important for later on. Ultimately, why do your prospects buy from you? Why do they buy from you? And if you want to drop any of your thoughts in chat, you're welcome to. And be fully warned that I will challenge you and probably ask some follow-up questions. So if you drop it in chat, expect that I'm going to go, huh, and? All right, so I'm going to pull up chat, see if I can read a couple of these. And hopefully I don't. Right? Nathan, not uncommon. Right, don't know why exactly. Well, we're going to figure that out today. All right, nobody else has anything to put in chat. There's one. Help them make their lives better through education. Julie, help me understand what you do. I don't know what that means.
There's the unmute. So I'm a nonprofit, and we sell is the relative word here. We sell a service to veterans that helps them get over, let's say it's been ages since you've taken an algebra class and you need to get into college, but that's in your way. We let them basically take classes with us so that they don't have, so that when they approach college, they can do so with confidence. And they feel like they're much more likely to succeed after having gone through our program.
All right, I love it. And I think you're onto it. Here's what I would challenge you though. Is that really why they buy? Is because they want to have the confidence and they want to have the education and they want to get the better job?
They buy again, using that. with
Right.
quotation
I
marks.
understand.
Right, because they have our support.
What if they don't have your support? And what if they don't have the education?
If they don't have the education,
Uh-huh.
their prospects for getting a better job are severely decreased,
Which means?
which means that they won't be able to achieve their life goals, their financial goals, their quality of life.
And how does that likely feel?
Probably, well, especially in the veteran world, there's a whole lot of circumstances that go along with that. But it definitely feels, like you've wasted your life.
Oh, okay. So by poll of hands, which resonates more with your prospect? You might feel frustrated and overwhelmed, maybe even feel like you've wasted your life, or you could get educated and maybe get a better job. Which one do you think will connect with a prospect that's feeling frustrated, more wasted life? Right. So this is going to be a challenge for today. And it's Julie, thank you so much for playing along. It's a tough dialogue sometimes. So here's my argument. I believe your whole entire life you have been beaten to death with positively positioned messaging. We're going to educate you and show you a better way, and you're finally going to get that job. Apply here. Fair? We've all been positively messaged to death. That is not what motivates human behavior. What motivates human behavior is 3 to 5 layers deeper to why they should care. So what happens to your client if you don't exist? And I'm seeing a lot of them make a difference in the workday by solving problems. Okay, and if you don't solve problems, Sherry, are you okay to play? I don't know if you have a microphone or not. If you can, unmute and we'll play for a second. Okay, maybe not. All right, Nancy, you were next. It just happened that way. Uncover and recruit top talent that can't capture, and these employees impact your bottom line. Okay. Right, Nancy, can you play?
Yeah,
Everybody's okay. Fantastic. What is it that you do, Nancy?
I'm a recruiter.
Recruiter. Awesome. What happens if your prospect, I'm assuming a business, doesn't uncover and recruit top talent?
They lose money.
Okay, and?
Customers, because
Okay.
these are sales positions.
And?
Impact into the industry.
What do you mean impact to the industry?
Recognition that you mean the company's not being in front of in front of the customers as far as thinking of them to be the go-to company.
Okay, and? What happens then if they're not in front of customers, they don't have the people?
They don't make the sale,
Okay, and?
which is their bottom line.
Okay, lots
don't
of
make
companies are
profits.
struggling. Okay, no profits means?
No money. That means,
Okay, and?
worst scenario, go out of business.
Right? Probably laying off the people they do
Lose
have.
jobs. Yeah, that manager could lose his job, and all the
Okay.
way up the line.
So hear me out. Is uncovering top talent more motivational than maybe struggling to find talent and could even end up losing revenue and laying people off or altogether losing their business? Which one might motivate somebody to talk to you more?
Struggling.
This is really tough. Thank you,
Yeah.
Nancy. No, so that's what we're going to work on today is how do you get that 3 to 5 layers deeper? And this is a challenge because we're so programmed to go the opposite. All right. So, and I want to play a quick video. Some of you have likely seen this. If it doesn't play, we'll just stop and I'll tell you about it. Are you seeing video loading or no? Okay, good.
I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat screen TVs. They've been making flat screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right, because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal?
All right, Joseph, while I'm messing with this over here, I want to go back to your Joseph Brace. So he said, if I'm not there, they won't be able to have the money to retire, the protection if they die too soon, or get to the debt they have. I think you've gotten one layer deeper than I do life insurance and financial planning, right? And I help people retire in style and a better lifestyle, and they take care of their loved ones if something happens. Still surface. So help me understand what you mean. What happens if they don't have the money to retire?
They have to work. they don't have the ability to spend time with their grandkids or family or travel or be able to do the things that they want to do, like their goals and dreams.
All right. And if they don't have the money to travel and retire and go live the life of their dreams, what happens?
You have to be a greeter at Walmart, be like
Okay.
Walter and say, get your crap and get out.
Okay. And I know that sounds cute, but that's real, right? The real is they get stuck in working way after they would ever want to, and maybe in jobs they would have never dreamed of having. What else happens if they don't have money at retirement?
Their choice, like life, like their health, their physical health, their choice for medical options. I mean, I think about my mother-in-law, right? She's working 40, 50 hours a week at a grocery store and she's miserable.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying money buys happiness, but it gives you the choice to do the things that you want to do or things you don't want to do.
I agree. So they end up getting stuck. Maybe they end up in living conditions they didn't want to live. A friend of mine, his wife is a doctor at the Indian hospital there outside of Tulsa. And the number one chronic problem for the elderly women over the age of 80 is malnutrition from living on cat food. No joke. So if we peel back, maybe we won't have to go that far, but there's layers, 2 to 3, maybe 4 questions deeper. Okay, what if they don't? What if you're not around? Okay, and what happens if that doesn't happen? Oh, it's like that. That's real world. Real world. All right, so cool. Thank you, Julius. Thanks for being here too. I appreciate the mad props on there. All right, so let me go back to, I'm sharing my screen here. All right, we're gonna start crafting your pitch. I want you to dig deeper. And it's probably the first draft or two, it's gonna seem like you're being maybe a little aggressive, telling people how bad it could be if you're not around. And we're gonna soften that eventually and put some flowery words around it that don't make people feel attacked. But at the end of the day, I want to connect and resonate with them in such a way that they want to talk to you more. They want information, or they want to start referring you to people that they know that may end up in that position, right? Okay, so when you first meet somebody, they present interests and symptoms, right? So if you're having a conversation with somebody, you might start addressing, hey, people I talk to are interested in saving money. Maybe they want to get educated or learn. I have a quick question, quick poll question. This is me being maybe a little over the top, but it is what it is. How many of you like to be educated? Show of hands. Want somebody, okay, you like to learn, or you want somebody to come tell you how you need to be doing something? Oh, no hands now. Okay, I see how it is, right? It is. It's kind of that tit for tat. Typically, when people say I educate, it means that they are smarter in a specific place than everybody else. How many of you want somebody around you that's typically smarter than you, that makes you feel dumb? Probably not many. I want you to stay away, if you can, from words like educate and teach. I love to learn. It's one of my highest values. But when somebody says, I know something you don't know, I go, remember that limbic brain system? Limbic brain, coach and empower. Again, if I'm a coach, so here's how I want you to think about this. If I could get to that root emotion, let's get a couple layers deeper. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. So the next layer deeper is you start uncovering it. And that's where I think Joseph was at. He was starting to talk about the pain. They don't get to retire early. They don't get to protect the ones they love if they die too soon, right? That was discomfort or pain. And if I go one layer deeper, I start to get to the root of the problem. You know what? Your survivors will be just fine. They will figure out a way. There's welfare systems, there's shelters. You go get clothes from the Salvation Army. You could get food from the pantry down the street. There's a church right around the corner that'll make sure they have food. You've probably got a big enough family. They'll take care of them. Right? Are those really solutions, Joseph? Not really. Not ones most people want to rely on should something happen to them. So if I start uncovering those questions, if I could address the problems at that root level, then I will start a conversation that may resonate. It's never price. I save people money does not motivate behavior. It's too expensive doesn't motivate behavior. What motivates behavior? Anybody know?
Pain or pleasure.
Pain and pleasure. That's it. Pain and pleasure. The fear of pain or the desire of pleasure. Those are the two things that limbic system of our brain that Simon was talking about motivate behavior. So I want you to start addressing those root behaviors. What is going to be pain and what is going to be pleasure that may be missing? And if we could solve both of those in the same instance, woohoo, magic answer. Never price. In fact, most people, when they hear you talk about price, you sound like a salesperson already, and they don't want to listen to you, right? All right. What is WIFM? Anybody knows what WIFM stands for?
What's in it for them?
That's right. What's in it for me? That's what they care about. That's what they care about. Now, in the network environment, we're coaching the people around us to some degree to know what's in it for our clients, right? You may know somebody that's struggling with, frustrated by, or disappointed with these couple of things that I help with. If you meet some of those people, will you think to introduce me? So I may have to go to the next generation out. Does that make sense? I don't know if I confused everybody or not. Okay. Do your prospects care what your rank is relative to your competitors?
No,
No, they have to, right? They want to see your awards on the wall, right?
not necessarily.
I don't care. They definitely don't care. What they care about, can you help them with their problem or not? It is that simple. Or can you deliver the pleasure they don't have or not? People are simple. That's it. All right. All right. So a couple other bullet points, and then we're going to craft a message, and then I'm going to turn it over to Rena to bring this train into the station. What do you suppose I mean by 5th grade level?
Make everything comprehensible and understandable, and not use big words to try to lose people or seem more eloquent than you actually are.
Also, no industry jargon.
I love it. What do you mean by industry jargon?
Well, we help you with your BFTs and your LTQs, and we can make sure you get your LIM 98s up to speed.
I love it. I love it. Lee, thank you so much. Yeah. So here's what I want to have happen. When you deliver your commercial, I don't want anybody to walk away going, huh? What's the LMQ 90? What the hell did she say? Because people, how much time and attention do you get from the people that you're talking to, real world? 7, I'm guessing seconds, not minutes, right? About 7 seconds. I've heard 15 seconds, but I think anymore, people are just moving so fast that we just tune things out that are irrelevant, right? So the second you use an acronym or a big word that somebody doesn't understand, your 7 seconds is over. And we've all done it to somebody else, not intending to. It's our brain filtering out automatically information we don't need or don't understand. And if it makes us feel dumb, again, oh, I'm out that quick, right? So let me give you a couple bullet points. No big words, right? No big words. So cacophony in a 60-second commercial, probably not a good word unless you're around a bunch of thespians that know what a cacophony is. Is that adequate?
Busted.
Busted is a sexy word. I love it, but big word.
Still like to know what it means. I mean, maybe I'm the only one that
I think it's all coming together. Is a bunch of sounds coming together. Is that a cacophony?
Yeah.
That's deduction, not the dictionary. I just kind of figured she said a bunch of words coming together. We'll make some noise. Okay. All right. No acronyms. Lee nailed that one. They've proven scientifically that it takes the brain longer to interpret your acronym than it does to actually say the words out. Now, so here's the challenge. If I'm delivering a commercial and I use an acronym of any kind, your brain takes longer to interpret that than it does for me to keep talking. So now we have a time mismatch. You're still trying to do the math on what the acronym was, and I'm now 4, 5, 7 words ahead of you with the next acronym that you've now got to go interpret again. And at some point, our brain just go, okay, no, I'm out. Does that make sense? All right. I'll give you an example of keep it simple. I had a gentleman that works with computers. He used the term IT. Who knows what IT is? Show of hands. Right? It's military intelligence, right, James? That's IT specific. Oh, you thought I meant the alien with the little light up finger? No, that's ET. Wrong one. IT means a lot of things. In the computer space, it means information technology. So how many of you know exactly what a stranger that says, hey, I work in IT, if they said that to you, what that means? Who knows what information technology means in their world? Right? So what's that, Julius?
I was going to say, in the magic world, it means invisible thread. Shh,
That's a secret.
I like, see, there you go. Another IT terminology. Scary clowns. All right. I don't know what that means, but I like it. Okay. So, end of the day, here's what happens. He calls me. He's on a way to a networking group. Robert, I know I'm not supposed to say IT because people got to try to figure out what I mean. What do I say? And I said, at a 5th grade level, what do you do? He goes, huh? What do you do? He goes, well, I help make sure that computers could talk to each other and share information without that information getting stolen. I was like, ah. He's like, really? Is it that simple? I'm like, yeah. And what happens if you don't do those things? And then we went into the possible pains or emotional reasons that happen. So he literally got on stage and said, this is what I do. And it disconnected. Can you get that simple? Now, here's what his fear was. His fear is, well, I'm talking to people that know what IT is. Will they think that I'm just a simpleton? Iced tea. I like that, Mike. And the answer is no. Most of them don't even know what they own. I went into a firm that specialized in this type of stuff. And I said, what does it mean? They had to start looking up what their own definitions were because they'd been saying their acronyms for so long, they didn't know what they meant. It's amazing. So if you could keep it super simple, use small words, get rid of the acronyms, and then make it about them. One caveat about not making it about them. In the networking space, I'd like you to avoid or completely eliminate the word you, Y-O-U. Right? Because if I'm around at a networking event and I say, I help you, blah, 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 and I help you do this, and I help you do this, then it's making it about them. And a networking group is not about them. It's about the people they know. And they may start to subconsciously feel like you want them to buy from you and tune you out. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to share an outline with you. Oh, come on now. I didn't need all that. I just needed a little clicky thing. Right click, copy link. I'm going to drop this in chat. This is a template that I use to help folks craft their message. And it's super, super simple. And you can just do it on a piece of paper if you don't want the template. I recommend sharing the template with your team and everybody coming up with their own. If you have people that you network with or in a peer group or maybe coworkers, you could share each other's commercials and refine and test. But the intro is super simple. Time-wise, okay, cool. Intro is super simple. First name, that's about it. Right? If I say, hey, I'm Robert Johnson with XYZ company out of Phoenix, Arizona, and I help people with, do you care about any of that intro at all? And I just took up probably 5 of my 7 seconds telling you information that didn't matter and wasn't relevant, right? So it may sound a little wonky. If you feel like you have to have that information in your commercial, like name in your company, and maybe legally, depending on what industry you are, you have to disclose what company, because some of you have compliance requirements, put that at the end when they're not listening anyway, right? So in the front, I literally just use first name. Things that I avoid, last name, company name, anything that makes me sound like a salesperson. Taglines, I'm not a fan. Now, some of you have been taught through networking at different groups that a tagline makes you memorable, not for the right reasons. Not for the right reasons. Taglines like we're your one-stop shop for everything plumbing. Who cares, right? Who cares? Your low price leader. Oh my God, shoot me now. Right? So taglines typically make you sound like a salesperson and people tune you out that quick. So I get rid of them. I have heard a couple that I really liked. One of them's there out of Tulsa. His name's Brandon Helschel, and we go back probably 15 years since I've heard this commercial. But he said, if you ever feel like throwing your computer through the wall, give Helschel a call. Right? And to this day, I remember his, but it's more of an action-based, pain-relevant picture that he's painted in my brain, so that works. So unless you're good like that and you could come up with a killer one, then leave them out. The other thing I assume is the person in front of me is never my prospect. Right? So I'm not coming at them with the word you. I assume they're never going to buy from me or don't need my services. It takes all the pressure off of me, takes all the pressure off of them so we could have a conversation. All I'm literally doing with my commercial is sorting to see if we should have a conversation or not. And if not, we could talk about the weather and how cold it is outside. Fair? Awesome. And then I do want to relieve pressure. I don't want them to feel less than. So I want to give you an example of how I might start my commercial. So I might say, hi, I stole that from Rena. Hi, I'm Robert. And I typically work with successful companies that sometimes struggle with fill in pain 1, fill in pain 2, fill in pain 3. If you come across somebody, when you ask them how business is, if they say anything other than amazing, that would be a fantastic introduction for me. Again, I'm Robert Johnson with Bold Networking. Right? Now I gave you a super brief, I gave you an 8-second version, not a 30-second version. But that's how I framework. Why do I leave out all the other stuff at the front end? Why leave that stuff out? It seems relevant.
It's not relevant.
Because
What
you're
do you mean
trying
not
to
relevant?
qualify.
Yeah,
What's that, Marquise?
I said you're trying to sort and qualify.
Right. I'll tell you why it's not relevant. Because they don't care.
Yeah. It's not that, like, it goes back to the WIIFM, right? All you're doing is telling them what you already know about yourself, but you have no idea how to reach that.
Right. And I do set some context, right? I do want to set some context so they know what I'm talking about. So I'm Robert. I typically help successful companies who are struggling with, right? I work with companies, so I gave you some context. If I'm a marketing company, I say, hey, I'm Marquise, and I typically work with marketing agencies or people that handle marketing internally to their company that are doing great. They have fantastic marketing. Occasionally, though, they're right. And then I could drop into my commercial. I've got their attention. I tell them what I'm going to talk about, and then I relate to the personal emotional needs, or back to what somebody said earlier, the pains and pleasures. And that's what the second, third, and fourth bullet points are on your worksheet. What are the personal emotional needs that people have that you help? And I want you to start thinking about these words here: frustrated, concerned, disappointed, feeling ripped off, losing sleep, stuck in a rut, overwhelmed, cast aside. Why do I want to use emotionally compelling words in those, what I would call pain statements or personal emotional need statements? Why use emotionally compelling words?
Start them on their emotional journey.
Okay. Yep. Anybody else want to add to that?
Emotions control behavior.
What percentage, Julie? If you had to say emotions drive initial behavior by what percentage, from 0 to 100%?
I'm going to say 90.
I'd say at least 90. I typically teach 100%. In fact, our brains, where it processes, and what Simon was talking about, our limbic system creates that initial emotion called fight, flight, freeze, or frolic. Right? It says, I'm in danger. I need to do something. That's pain. I'm in pleasure is the frolic side, right? So we've got each end of that going. That happens in our limbic brain, and 100% of it is driven by emotion. So if I don't connect with my prospect on an emotional basis, I'm just hoping at some point it makes sense, and I found somebody that's in enough pain that they'll go, hey, do you help with this? I'm glad you asked. Now I could have a conversation, but I'm just hoping that it works out instead of connecting directly with that why in the middle of the circle. Does that make sense? So that's why: frustrated, losing sleep, overwhelmed, disappointed. Now, if I'm going to keep working on the framework, so I have my intro. I'm Robert. I work with successful people. I work with I'm Julie, and I work with veterans, our amazing veterans that have served our country. And occasionally they're feeling overwhelmed with all the options and what to do with the rest of their life. Some of them are feeling disappointed, maybe even stuck and disenfranchised, that there's really no option for them other than re-enlisting or doing something like that, right? And I don't know what all the nuances are, but that's what I'm going to get to. Then at some point, I'm going to get to my benefit statement, and that's where you get to put it in your old school stuff, all your positive stuff, right? I could say, hey, we've helped veterans accomplish this, and we recently were able to get a veteran into this. Right, so that's where I'm going to put in my benefits statement. If I have 60 seconds, I'll tell a cool story, right? I'll tell a cool story. And then at the end, I'm going to ask some kind of question. So what was the purpose of our commercial? Not everybody all at once. What was the purpose?
Sort and start a conversation.
Sort and start a conversation. So we're sorting. I gave them, hey, do you have a problem 1, problem 2, or problem 3, or lack of pleasure 1, 2, or 3? Yes or no, right? So I gave you the information. Now I get a sort. I have to ask a question. So at the end, I'm going to ask a question. And mine is usually a neutral question. I'm not sure if you're dealing with any of those or not. I'm not sure if any of those are concerns for you or not. And I want them to go, huh, actually, I am kind of frustrated by where I'm at with this problem. Right now, I've started a conversation. They have sorted themselves in as a prospect, and we could have a meaningful conversation. It's really that simple. Now, in the networking environment, I may have to ask a different question. I'm not sure if you know anyone that's struggling, disappointed, or frustrated, right? So that's in the networking space. I'm going to change how that question is. If you come across somebody that does this, think to introduce me. Does that make sense? So I'm giving you a kind of a dual purpose. So you have the framework now. I want to give you 2 last hacks, and then I'm going to turn it over to Rena for the rest. Habit loops are things that people normally do. If you could figure out a way to get into those habit loops, it'd be good. And I'll give you an example. I typically get referred to companies that are struggling in sales. So when you come across somebody, when you come across a business owner, what do all of you do when you talk to a business owner? You're just having small talk. What's the first question you ask a business owner? You're just meeting for the first time, or a friend you haven't seen in a while. What's the question you ask them every time?
How's it going?
Business going?
How's business going? That's your habit. That's small talk with business owners, right? So unless they say amazing, that would be a great introduction for me, right? So I know you have that habit loop of asking business owners. Now, maybe it's, I do life insurance, and anytime you're talking to somebody and they start talking about their kids, that would be a great introduction for me, right? Because I help a lot of parents with life insurance, and I'm just saying, for example. So those are habit loops. And the last is life event triggers. And I'll use Edie, for example, because I know she does real estate. She's amazing. What kind of life events might trigger somebody to want to talk to a real estate agent?
Relocation of a job.
Yep. Hey, I got a big job, new promotion, moving cities. Sure. What else? Divorce. Yep. Divorce. What else?
Mom's moving in. I need extra space.
Okay. Yeah. Getting ready to take care of some parents. I love that one.
Empty nesters downsizing.
Yeah. Hey, kids are moving off to college, right? So there's life events. I want you to think, and if you're in business, maybe it's a little harder. Maybe we're having a merger and acquisition. Maybe we've just had to lay off some employees. Maybe we've hired some employees. Maybe we're announcing a new product line. So what are the events that happen that precipitate a conversation, right? So I've left for you, I'm going to skip the last one because it's irrelevant. And then, okay, so I shared with you the template. Build your template out so you know what to say. And then the rest is just practice, practice, practice. And what I want you to practice are the things that Rena is going to share with you in the last half of what we're talking about. Nice kitty, Don. Big kitty. All right, so that's it, Miss Rena. Yes, ma'am.
Robert, will you put the link again in the chat, because I think it was lost after we were all kicked off.
The link for what?
I'm saying? The link for the workbook.
Okay, I sure will.
Because some people haven't been able to access it yet.
That's the template. I'll go back and grab the workbook while you're talking, Rena, and put that in there. And if you'll just let me know when to change slides, because I know you're operating on phone power.
So, Robert, we didn't see the template link either when you dropped it. You may have dropped it personally to somebody instead of to everyone.
Good call. Yes, Rena just got the template. Awesome. Congratulations, Rena. All right, there's the template. Thanks, Mike. All right, Rena, all you. I'm so honored. Run.
Okay, thank you. Would you stop screen sharing for just a moment?
Happy to.
Thanks. And we may not go back to screen share again. I don't know.
That's good, because my screen share isn't working at the moment.
Okay. All right. I am going to move because I need to be standing when There we go. Now I stand when I present on Zoom because it gives me more energy. Let me get my gallery view back. Yes, there we go. It gives me more energy and I can stand away from the camera a little bit and people can see my body language. I'm going to move my chair out of the way so I can stand back a little farther. There we go. Now, what I want you to do is to take a moment to craft your opening sentence, which is what we'll work with today. So based on what you heard from Robert, you might be thinking about a whole new way to your 60. And I don't want you to judge right now, is this my final version? Is this version good? Is this version bad? Just write something out, an opening sentence that it can be one that you've used before, or it can be a new one inspired by Robert's content. Write it out now. Did someone ask a question?
Yeah, Rena, Nathan mentioned it's harder for him to be personable on Zoom.
It is hard to be personable on Zoom. We all have that issue. And I also brought a mask today to talk about how you talk from behind a mask. Let's address the Zoom issue since the question has come up. Because Zoom is different, it makes us feel smaller and less seen. So we bring less of ourselves to the Zoom experience. And I have discovered that I have to bring more of myself to Zoom in order for my personality, my natural charisma, to go beyond the screen. If you look around at a Zoom meeting, and people are often disengaged, they're looking down at their keyboard or at their phone, looking around the room, and the minute you lose connection with that camera, you've lost connection with the meeting. So it's staying present. When you're speaking, you're looking into that camera. You're not looking down. You're not looking at the little squares, because when I look at the bottom down here, I'm looking at Deb. Hi, Deb. And she's on the bottom of my screen, but it looks to everybody else like I'm not looking. My eyes are down. So I raise my camera to my eye level. And right now my computer's on a box so that I can stand up. And I look at the camera and bring all of my energy, both vocally and physically. I find myself using my hands more and up higher so that people can see it. Let's talk about the mask. When I'm in a face-to-face meeting now, and I have to use a mask, you can see how much of my personality is lost. So what can I do as the speaker to get my energy outside of the mask? First of all, my eyes are switched on. My mouth is moving more than it wants to. Behind the mask, because I feel the restriction, my mouth wants to work less. Also, when my mouth is working a lot, the mask comes down. All of those things conspire to keep my face more quiet and still. Behind the mask, I need to be more expressive. I need to, oh, got it tangled in my glasses. I need to use my mouth more. Now, when I come out from behind the mask and I'm using my mouth more, it sounds like, wow, she's really overdoing it. But behind the mask, it doesn't sound like you are, in fact, overdoing it. You are getting out. Something I suggested to an actress I was working with, I was directing a show in Oklahoma City, and we were all behind masks. And I said to the actress, imagine that your lips are on the outside of the mask and that they can move freely. And with that image, then she was able to articulate more clearly. So being clear and energized and louder and more expressive is important behind the mask. All right, so I want to ask you now to think about the last wonderful pitch that you heard. Can you all think about it? Can you all remember it? Yep, I'm going to see your eyes light up or your hands go up. Yes, I have it. Yeah, good. Now I'd like for several people to unmute themselves and talk to me about what does the pitch from heaven sound like and look like to you? What is that person doing? Yeah, do I see a hand? Deb, I know you've got a response for this. Deb's a Toastmaster. Can you unmute there, Deb? There you
Yes,
go.
hello. I just joined the meeting. We've been out of power since 7:30 this morning, so I'm just coming into the meeting.
Well, you're so welcome to be here. We're glad you're here. Do you have any thoughts about what the pitch from heaven looks like or sounds like?
That is a great question. The pitch from heaven is that I'm thinking as I'm talking. The pitch from
Sure.
heaven is something that catches your attention, that draws you in, that is inspiring, that's motivating, that's engaging, that it just draws you in. And
Good.
it's also, when you listen to it, it is almost like music to your ears.
Good, beautiful, thank you. Now, conversely, everybody think about the worst pitch you've ever heard. Yeah, Megan is smiling. She's heard one or two. Joseph is smiling. Megan, Joseph, tell us about the worst pitch. What characterizes pitches that don't work?
Well, I think about that in the sense of like, you know, the uhs, the ums, you can tell that there was no preparation and there's no clear idea of what they're really trying to accomplish or do. And so you leave that when they share their pitch or they share their presentation or their intro, you're like more confused than what the logo says on their shirt.
Good. All right. Excellent. Megan, you want to add something there? I can see it.
I absolutely love that and agree with him because when they do constantly do that and just try to sell exactly what they're doing more than just how they can actually help us, you do just walk away, you know, feeling completely confused. I was one of the worst. When Robert first met me, I remember he was so confused by what I did when I originally met him. Like, I was one of the worst.
Okay, excellent. Thank you both. Robert and I have sat around many tables listening to pitches. The first thing I recall is that there was a woman who could not be heard even by the people next to her, or a speech that cannot be understood, where the words are just not clear and they're spoken so rapidly and the mouth is not open. We don't get the name, we don't hear, we don't understand. Also, the person who shifts and moves a lot, right? You've seen this person who can't stand still. And so stillness is really, really important. Clarity, volume are really important. Okay, Robert, would you go ahead and share the screen again?
I would love to, however, Google's experiencing a rolling blackout at the moment. So it's going to take me a minute.
Okay.
So
It's
roll
not
on
a
and I'll.
problem. It's not a problem. I don't need it. I just think that people enjoy looking at slides rather than looking at me all the time. So I want to talk to you about why we warm up. It's okay, Robert, I'm golden.
All right, got it.
Okay. Maybe.
I'm not sharing the screen, so.
Yeah.
Got it. I didn't change anything on my end, so I don't know what's.
Okay, it's all right. We're good. We're good. We need to warm up. And I warm up before every speaking opportunity. And I know that people think that's silly, but after I warm you up right now, you are going to see the difference. Now, before we stand up and warm up, I want everybody to make sure your mics are off. It looks like you all are. And I want you just to say the first couple of sentences of your pitch, either a new one or one that you typically do. Just do it. Go. Good. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to let you get all the way. That is how you sound and how you vocally and physically feel before you warm up. You wouldn't send a professional baseball pitcher out on the mound to throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball without warming up that arm and making sure his body is ready to do the task at hand. Any serious speaker, and believe me, if you stand up to sell your business in front of people, you are a serious speaker, warms up. So everybody stand up. If you're embarrassed to be seen doing this stuff, you can turn off your camera, but I know you won't because we're all in this together. Stand up. And even if the camera is looking at your navel, that's okay. And we are going to release habitual tension, and then we're going to warm up the vocal folds. All right, so put a circle in your shoulders and add a hum. Now reverse the circle and continue the hum. Now relax the shoulders, bring them up to your ears and relax them down. Now jostle and relax. And just be aware of how you feel. Now, for those of you who get performance anxiety before you present, these exercises help control performance anxiety. The discomfort you feel from performance anxiety is controllable. Let's go down into the rib cage. Let me move back so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to stretch over like this, and I'm going to reach around and pat my rib cage, and I'm going to add a hum. And then I'm going to grab my wrist and stretch a little farther and sigh out. Ah. Now the other side, rib cage and pat and hum. And grab and stretch. Ah. Good. Now, be aware that when you stretch your rib cage, you can breathe more deeply. And that's what we just did. We wanted to breathe more deeply. Now, put a circle in your hips. Let me move my camera so you can see what I'm doing here in the middle of my body. I'm just putting a circle in my hips and put a hum in that. Reverse. Now shake your booty. I turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. You don't have to turn sideways. I'm pumping my arms and it makes my bum jiggle. If you say it with a British dialect, I'm going to jiggle my bum. It's fun, it's funny. And now be aware of how you feel. The energy that's flowing in your body. Now, I'm going to lift a foot. Let me see if I can position my screen so you can see. Lifting my foot and putting a circle in my ankle. Yeah, lift your foot, put a circle in your ankle, and add a hum. Now, change the direction of the circle with a hum. And give a big kick with that foot. A big kick, like you're going to kick your shoe off. And make the sound ah with big space. Ah. Now set that foot down. Okay. Feel the difference between those feet. Yeah? That foot that you just worked, that foot is grounded. And gravitas, big word, gravitas starts with the feet against the floor. Now the other foot is screaming at you, do me, do me. Lift your other foot and put a circle with a hum. Reverse the circle. And kick that foot. And set the foot down. Oh, Nathan, you are too fun. All right. Now, feel your feet grounded. Soften your knees. Think long back of neck, shoulders relaxed and down. Now say the first couple of sentences of your speech. Go. Excellent. How many of you notice a change in your voice after doing the warm-up? Yeah? Yes. The body must be prepared for you to do your best speaking. The voice lives in the body. Tension in the body murders your voice. So we just did some stretching and some shaking. That's all I did. I do yoga every morning. I dance. I walk. I lift weights. I stretch to rid the body of habitual tension. All right. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. How you stand matters. If I stand up to do this, notice what I've done. My shoulders come forward, my neck comes forward. Listen to what happens to my voice. I call this Debbie Denier. She's saying with her alignment, I don't really have anything to share. You all are so much more talented than I am. I apologize for taking up space. Now, there are those of us who conversely stand with shoulders back, chin up, and when they speak with a pressed, aggressive sound, right? Okay, you guys, I'm here to sort you out. Well, I call her Betty Bluff. And her sound changes because of the way she stands. The way you stand matters. When I said to you, ground those feet, because gravitas or presence, gravitas means the sense of importance that you carry. If you walk into a room and everybody goes, that person is a person to be reckoned with. They carry gravitas, and gravitas starts with the feet. Remember, I also said release your knees, soften your knees. Right now, my knees are locked. Do you hear what happened to my voice when my knees locked? Now I'm going to soften my knees. Hi, my name is Rena Cook, and my knees are soft. The way you stand matters. Now, I'm going to talk to you about breath. Breath is the single most important thing we're going to talk about today. Breath controls performance anxiety, and breath powers the voice. I'm going to teach you a breath to control performance anxiety. And I know you all experience it to one degree or another. And performance anxiety is just fight or flight. And the only thing we volitionally can do to control volitionally, boy, that's another big word. That means you can do this. It's your volition to control performance anxiety with breath. So I want you all to sit up nice and straight, put both your feet flat on the floor, close your eyes, and think about breathing slower, deeper, quieter, calmer. Slower meaning slow inhale, slow exhale. Deeper meaning every inhale goes deeper into your torso. Quieter means no sound on the inhale, no sound on the exhale. Calmer means relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Slower, deeper, quieter, calmer. Excellent. I think about slow, deep breathing all the time, particularly when I'm getting ready to speak, because I know, well, for example, this morning, getting ready for this webinar, my power went out just as I was starting. And so I feel this rise in the fight or flight. I start to get cold in this room because the power is out. and I feel fight or flight settling in my body. So what I'm doing is breathing deeply. It's like, Rena, just breathe. Just breathe. As Robert was talking, doing his portion of the webinar, I'm thinking, Rena, continue to breathe deeply. When I stood up to present, I found my feet. I feel my feet against the floor. I soften my knees and I breathe deeply so that when I begin to speak, I am fully present, not clouded by fight or flight. Secondly, breath is speech. What you hear and recognize as human speech sound is just disturbed air. Let me show you what I sound like when I don't breathe. I'm going to blow out all my air and then speak. Hi, my name is Rena, and this is what I sound like when I don't breathe. Hi, my name is Rena, and this is my voice on breath. Breath is your voice. You must breathe at every punctuation or thought shift. In my introduction, I breathe twice. Listen. Hi, my name is Rena. I take a breath. And I work with people who are terrified to speak in public. Breath. So I breathe after my name. I breathe after what it is I do or the name of my company. And then I breathe at every period, every comma, every punctuation so that I have breath for the next thought. So I'm going to ask you now to go ahead and stand again. I'm like the choir conductor. All rise. Find your feet, hip width apart, toes pointed straight ahead, weight evenly distributed. Knees are soft, long back of neck. Let your hands just relax at your side and take a breath. Feel the breath moving in your body. And now take a breath and then speak your introduction, the sentences you've been working on, breathing at each period or comma or thought shift. Go, connecting breath to word. Okay, good. Did anybody notice that their voice is stronger when it's connected to ample breath? Anybody notice that? That it's easier to speak when you are breathing. How do you teach yourself to breathe? You practice. Yep, you practice. The last thing that I want to share with you is the idea that your mouth is your megaphone. The more space you make in your mouth, the more sound you've got. The woman that I told you about at the beginning that Robert and I remember who could not be heard by the person next to her, she made no space in her mouth. Her mouth did not move. When I showed her how to open her mouth, she was like frightened by the sound. It's like, that's me? Oh my gosh. Yeah, so lots of breath, lots of space, and you will have lots of sound. Now, I have exercises for jaw, for tongue, for soft palate. We don't have time today. I'm going to give you the spacer exercise. So you have a spacer. Your thumb and your forefinger are your spacer. I'm going to ask you to put that in your mouth, and I'll show you how this works. Hi, my name is Rena Cook, and I am a voice and speech coach. And then I take that out and I speak with the same sense of space. Hi, my name is Rena, and I'm a voice and speech coach because I remember the space. Everybody put your two fingers in your mouth. Do your first. Turn your mute on. Mute yourself. There we go. Practice this with the spacer. Go ahead, everybody. Practice with the spacer. Now take the spacer away. Remember the space and say your sentence. Go. Brilliant. Now, I know that the answer is yes, I spoke more clearly when I made space in my mouth. It's something you got to practice. Now, I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts. I know we're about out of time. Things to never forget. Say your name clearly. Even if it's a common name like Robert Johnson, you've got to say it clearly. When I say Rena Cook, I don't take any part of that name for granted. I say the name like it is the most beautiful name in the world. Do not be ashamed to say your name, both names clearly. Because if I say to you, hi, my name is Rena Cook, you're not going to get it. Rena Cook. Yeah. The name of your business, if you choose to say it, it must be clear. Don't rush it. Signpost it. Now, I don't mean you have to do this, but my business is Vocal Authority. It's not Vocal Authority. Hear the difference? All right, don't fall off at the ends of sentences. We Americans, we start a sentence strong and then by the end we've trailed away. The end of your sentence is the most important thing that you say, and it needs to be carried forward with energy, not dropped away. The only way you know if you do this is to record yourself and listen. Keep the energy strong all the way through the final period. And the last thing I want to say to you is bring your joy. You see people interacting before and after the meeting, and they have such lovely, warm personalities. They get up to do their 50, 60-second pitch and their personality goes away. Their eyes go dead. They become boring as hell. Bring your joy, bring your personality. That's what this exercise, the shaking your bum, is about. It brings the sparkle to your eyes so that you can be your full self. That's what people want to buy from, the wonderful, unique person that you are when you are fully present and yourself. All right, so I am concluding my portion. I'm going to turn it back over to Robert where he can take us home. Thank you.
Rena, you are truly amazing. And Julie, you're right. I don't do it enough. And every time I hear Rena, I go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. I dropped a couple links in chat. I know several people had to drop about 20 minutes ago, so I'll send out an email as well with some of the links. I shared Rena's workshop that she teaches, which is Speak Like a Pro Academy. She also has a wonderful library on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. So make sure to connect with her. Of course, you could find a Bold Networking event just about anywhere in the country. If there's not one, let's get one started where you're at. If you would like me to review the content, not how you deliver it, you don't need to send me a video of you giving your commercial, but if you'll, the content piece in that template style, if you would like to email that to me, I drop my contact information. It's RJ@Bold Networking. I'm happy to review that for you and give you some ideas. You know, I don't have a one-size-fits-all commercial, but I'll give you my feedback for what it's worth and hope that it helps you be more successful. And then pay attention to the things that Rena said, plug into her content. If you have the resources, time, and energy to at least check out her Speak Like a Pro Academy, it will leave you forever changed. So Julie, the one thing I do every time from the very first time I met Rena was I learned to plant my feet, soften my knees, and breathe. The rest of it just keeps layering on over and over again. But I do literally think of Rena when I stand up to talk every time. I go, okay, breathe, Robert, so plant your feet. Let's get this. And then I usually knock my chair over with my purse hanging on it, and it just distracts me to hell. So,
or knock your screen over. Did you see me
right?
knock the screen over?
I love it. So I truly appreciate your investment of time and energy to be here. I hope this has been a good use of time. I also dropped a takeaway form if you would give us feedback so we can make it better in the future. Really appreciate that. And if you could think of anybody else that might benefit by connecting with either through Vocal Authority or Bold Networking, signpost, right?
Yes,
then
so
please think to
clear.
connect us. And if anybody wants some one-on-one time, just grab a time on my calendar and I can get you that if you want it. Just send me an email at RJ@Bold Networking.